Good evening. It's a Monday night, which means it is time for another Soaring Hawk educational session. So, hope you got your thinking caps on. We're going to have a nice one tonight. First off, a little bit of valor. Love this stuff. Put a drop or two of that on my finger like that. Nice blue color. Right on the brain stem. Goes up into the hairline area, up in the, oh yeah, I love that stuff. Valor is fantastic. Love it on the brain stem. My favorite place to apply it. I just love sniffing the thing too. It smells really good. So I know that looks creepy when we do that, but it's okay. It's okay. Also, little white angelica, one of my favorite blends. Is the first oil I actually had an experience with, if you want to put it that way. I'm not saying it was not a body experience. Most of my experiences are out of mind. Most of my friends can tell you that. But I actually, first time I opened a bottle of white angelica, I took a sniff and I thought, boom, I was right back on my grandmother's farm in Iowa. And it smelled like the perfume she used to wear on Sunday mornings when we'd go to church. And it just took me back there. So yeah, these oils are powerful things. Now that I've got Valor and white angelica on my fingers here, like rubbing it together, taking a big sniff in, get it in the olfactory system, back into the limbic system of the brain, where it affects thought and memory, and, you know, for me, mood. And I'm usually a pretty happy guy. Oils make me even better. So good evening. My name is Jay Hawk. My wife, Lori, and I are Young Living distributors. We've been using Young Living for several years, since early 2015 is when we started to use them. And ever since we started, we have been enjoying wellness. We've been enjoying natural wellness after several seasons of poor health. Now, we saw firsthand what these essential oils can do. So we switched from being probably the biggest skeptics around to being one of the firmest of believers that this does work. Now, have to say this. The information in this class is not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The information represents what we, independent distributors of Young Living essential oils, have chosen to do to take charge of our own personal health and of that of our family and even our cat. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. They have been evaluated by our cat. Now, if you are pregnant, nursing, taking medication, or have a medical condition or a cat, consult your physician or vet before using these products. There. Okay. Yeah, our cat actually loves the oils. She really does. She loves the cat treats too. But tonight's class is not about pets. It is a look at the Young Living Farms. It's kind of where everything happens. And to start it off, it starts with the soil. It does. Young Living founder, Gary Young, if you've never heard of him, fantastic guy, the pioneer of North American usage of essential oils and founder of Young Living. He was never comfortable really being the head of this multi-million-dollar essential oil company, and he'd be the first person to tell you as much. He was first and foremost a farmer. That's what he wants to be remembered as. He loved nothing more than to visit the Young Living farms and get his hands dirty. He would get down there and he would dig, planting seedlings, getting behind the wheel of the tractor during harvest, climbing into a distiller to tamp down the natural raw materials. He mentioned this many times, that it starts with the soil. And it really does. If the ground was not right, the plants wouldn't grow to their full potential. That's how Young Living farms start. Extensive testing of the soil. It began with a small lavender field in Idaho with seeds from France. And now there are Young Living farms on 6 continents. Yeah, all over the globe. There are 3 types of farms utilized by Young Living to grow their plants. There are the corporate-owned farms, which are owned outright by Young Living. There are partner farms, which are run by individuals or by companies, and they work with Young Living. And then there are seed-to-seal certified suppliers who have to undergo the same rigorous testing as the corporate and the partner farms. Farms are established on land that has never been exposed to chemical pesticides or man-made fertilizers, or at least haven't had them for decades. That is key. Young Living seed to seal quality, commitment, honor those origins, shaping the agricultural practices we use, not only sustainably cultivate biochemicals or botanicals, but also to protect botanicals, wildlife, and landscapes. We're not just in it for the oils, we're in it for the long haul. Each of these farms, whether they're corporate, partner, or seed to seal certified, are tasked with providing the highest quality plant material for distillation into the purest essential oils on the planet. No pesticides, no toxic sprays, no poisons, only all natural methods of growing and mulching, with the harvest timed out perfectly so the plants are at their most bountiful for getting the highest quality from the oils. That took many years of research. Gary Young is the one who did all that research. Anyone who tells you differently is lying to you because they didn't do the research. They piggybacked off of Gary. But that's a different class entirely. Now, where are these farms? As I mentioned before, they are on 6 continents, with Antarctica being the lone exception. You can kind of see why, because there's not much there but ice and penguins. So let's take a look at the farms and what they grow. Let's start off with, well, since we're in Oregon, let's start off with North America. There is the St. Mary's Lavender Farm and Distillery in St. Mary's, Idaho, and they grow lavender, melissa, and goldenrod there. And this was the very first Young Living farm. That's the very first farm where Gary planted 200 acres of lavender with seeds he brought back from France. There's the Highland Flats Tree Farm and Distillery. That's in Naples, Idaho. And they grow Idaho blue spruce, Idaho balsam fir, and white fir there. So they grow some of the conifers for us up there. Young Living Lavender Farm and Distillery in Mona, Utah. Oh, great place. If you ever get a chance to go, go. Lavender, melissa, clary sage, goldenrod, juniper, white fir, blue yarrow. That's all grown there, as well as some other plants. This farm is a popular destination during the annual Young Living International Grand Convention that's held in Salt Lake City. You can spend farm day there and just walk around. You can watch the distillation process. You can see everything. It's fantastic. I highly recommend that. There's also the Skyrider Wilderness Ranch and the Skyrider River Ranch. That's in Taviona, Utah. Einkorn Ancient Grain is grown there, as well as melissa, goldenrod, lavender, and some other plants. The Kona Sandalwood Reforestation Project, that's on the Big Island in Hawaii. Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood is grown there, and it's fantastic. What they're doing, as you notice, a reforestation project. Well, the Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood was becoming really scarce. So what Young Living did is they are reforesting the area. They are planting more sandalwood trees in Hawaii, and they're not being harvested until it's ready. It's not an as need basis, it's a when ready basis, which is really kind of nice. If you're up in the Washington area, Labimint Partner Farm and Distillery. It is a partner farm of Young Living. It's in White Swan, Washington. Peppermint and spearmint is what they grow on their farms. Labimint Partner Distillery, they've been producing world-class mint oils at a family-run facility since the 1940s. And they have 4 strategic locations located in the Washington state area, all around the White Swan area, which is up by Yakima. And that includes a distillery at the main location, and warehouses and blending capabilities and other locations. Lori and I went on a tour there, the first tour with Young Living members. We did that a couple months ago. Great time, absolutely great time. It was fantastic. I highly, highly recommend a tour of the Labimint Partner Farm next time they offer it. And let's see, Northern Lights Farm and Distillery. That's in Fort Nelson, British Columbia, up in Canada. And they, of course, grow our fantastic Northern Lights Black Spruce, which goes in Valor. So I love Northern Lights Black Spruce. It's a fantastic individual oil, and also it's great in several blends. And if you go south of the border, the Finca Victoria Farm in Ciudad Victoria, Mexico, that place grows grapefruit and lime. So we get some of our citrus oils from there. Heading even further south, let's go to South America. All right, we're on continent number 2 now, if you're keeping track. The Finca Botanica Farm and Distillery in Chongqing, Ecuador, otherwise known as Guayaquil. And that's a big one. That's a huge farm down there. Ylang Ylang, Palo Santo, Mastrante, lemongrass, eucalyptus blue, dorado azul, ocotea, plectranthus oregano is grown there, which isn't a true oregano, but because it smells like oregano, it has an oregano essence to it, kind of an aroma to it. Gary Young discovered that plant and gave it its botanical name, Plectranthus oregano, and also Ruta graveolens is grown there as well, otherwise known as ruta oil. And also in South America, there's the Mera Ocotea farm in Pastaza province in Ecuador, and they grow ocotea there. Well, Mera Ocotea farm, that's a little bit of a giveaway, isn't it? And let's go across the Pacific Ocean and head over to Asia. One of the most popular things that Young Living has in its catalog is Ningxia Red, the proprietary supplement beverage. So the Ningxia Wolfberry Farm and Distillery, located in Ningxia, China, that's where we get our wolfberries from. It's been a big part of Young Living for a long time, and a fantastic place. The Ningxia Red, if you haven't had it, have it. Trust me, have it. That's the product that I believe saved my life. I'm just putting that out there. Also in Asia, there's the Taiwan Cooperative Farm and Distillery in Taitung, Taiwan, and that's where we get our Jade Lemon, which is a fantastic oil, one of my favorite citrus oils. Also Hong Kwai there, which is Formosan cypress, Zhang Mao, which is red lemongrass, and camphorwood. That's all from the Taiwan Cooperative Farm and Distillery. You can also visit the Happy Peely Tree Farm and Distillery. I'm sorry, but that sounds like a daycare. The Happy Peely Tree Farm. I just picture, baby trees in diapers, but it's actually a great place where they are very conscious about how they harvest the trees there, because in the Philippines, it was a problem because people were cutting down the trees to get the harvest. But the people at Happy Peely Tree Farm, they realized that you don't have to kill the tree to get the oil. You tap it. You cut a little bit, you tap it, kind of like you would do with maple syrup on a maple tree in Canada or in the Northeast United States. So it's saving the trees, and it's a renewable source. And that's where we get our elemi, which is a relative of frankincense. At the Calapay Coconut Farm in Polillo Island in the Philippines, well, guess what we get there? Coconut oil. Yeah. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. And heading over to the Mideast, the Arabian Frankincense Distillery in Muscat, Oman, that's where we get sacred frankincense. And Young Living is the only company allowed to export sacred frankincense. So that tells you something about the credibility that Young Living has with all these farms across the world. As long as we're in Asia, let's kind of head down a little bit, go over to Australia, and the Gindigung Farm in Tatham, Australia. We get some tea tree down there, Melaleuca alternifolia. If you have never heard of that, that is a fantastic oil. Outback Botanical Reserve and Distillery, that's located in Darwin, Australia. That's where we harvest our blue cypress. And they do some great things there, because blue cypress is an oil that a lot of people don't really understand fully yet. So they're doing a lot of research on it, and they're finding out some of the things this oil can do. I love the aroma, personally. That's the big draw for me for blue cypress. There's also the Ord River Sandalwood Farm and Distillery in Kununurra, Australia, and we grow our sacred sandalwood there. And over to what they call the Dark Continent, Africa. We have a farm there too, the Amanzi Amale Cooperative Farm and Distillery. That's in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. And we grow tea tree there, Eucalyptus radiata, and also some citrus plants. We grow lemon, orange, and grapefruit there. Over in Europe, heading up from Africa over to Europe, Simian-la-Ratande, the Lavender Farm and Distillery. It's located in France. Lavender, clary sage, lavandin, rosemary, and our einkorn ancient grain is grown there. the Dalmatia Aromatic Farm and Distillery in Split, Croatia. Helichrysum, sage, juniper, and Laurus nobilis, otherwise known as bay laurel, is grown there. Now, a funny story about the Dalmatia Aromatic Farm and Distillery in Split in Croatia. The COO and president of Young Living, Jared Turner, who was Gary's right-hand man when Gary was living, he went with Gary to Croatia to overlook some of these farms and to take a look at it. Well, you know, with Jared being the kind of person he is, he wanted to do everything that Gary did. He was trying to follow in Gary's footsteps, and so far he's done an admirable job. But back then, he was watching Gary, watching what he did, and Gary bent down and he just kind of felt the soil, and then he put it in his mouth. Well, Jared, being who he is, he bent down, he got some soil, then he put it in his mouth, and he swallowed it. Gary went, spit the soil back out. So Jared likes saying that wherever he goes, there's a little bit of Croatia with him. And I think Jared is doing a fantastic job because he's carrying on what Gary has started. So you can get all those oils there, the Helichrysum, sage, juniper, Laurus nobilis there. At the Vida de Seville distillery in Almaden de la Plata, that's in Seville, Spain, they grow cistus, otherwise known as rose of Sharon. That's what it's known as biblically, but cistus, also frankincense and myrrh are harvested there in Seville, Spain. And let's head to the boot, huh? Italy, yeah. Bella Vista Farm, Reggio Calabria in Italy. That's where we get our bergamot, or bergamot, however you want to pronounce it. I don't know. I say bergamot. Potato, same thing. So there are many more partner farms and seed to seal certified farms across the globe. But this gives you a pretty good idea that Young Living will go to great lengths to find the best growing conditions to produce the finest essential oils in the world. And it starts with the soil, as Gary said. Can you visit the farms? Yes. Short answer, yes. And Young Living encourages members to do so. All corporate-owned farms are open. If you're a member, you can go. It's that easy. I would suggest calling ahead, but it's open to members. And most of the partner farms host tours as well. As I mentioned earlier, the Labby Mint Farm in White Swan, Washington. When my wife and I went up there for the tour, it was sponsored by Young Living. We were the first group of there were about 18 of us, the first group of Young Living members to visit the Labby Mint Farms. And as I said, oh, it was great. It was fantastic. The smell, the aroma of the spearmint and the peppermint as it was being grown in the fields, as it was being harvested, as it was being distilled, it was wonderful. And they treated us like royalty. They really did. They went all out and they just treated us so well. And they were so open about everything too. So yes, you can visit the farms. You can visit the corporate-owned farms. And when possible, you can visit the partner farms. There's a segment on Young Living on their website where you click on farms and an area where you can schedule a tour. So you can do that. It's easy. Just click, 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 click. Oh, you're there. And then just get to the farm. You also get these neat little passports too. You can get those and get a stamp for every farm you visit. So far, Lori and I have been to 2. We've been to the Mona, Utah farm several times, and we went to Labby Mint. So we've got 2 stamps ready to go on our passport, and we're looking for more. Now, the wide majority of other essential oil companies can't offer you farm tours because they don't own their own farms. They don't. So you have no guarantee the oil is as pure as they may claim. It could be, and most likely is, contaminated by pesticides and other toxic chemicals used to enhance the fragrance or to stretch out a batch by adding floral water and synthetics to the essential oil. The US government, in all its wisdom, smirky little, the FDA says you can have a bottle of essential oil and it only has to have 5% of essential oil to be qualified as 100% pure. Yeah. Does that sound right? No. Many companies take advantage of that, and they load up their bottles with floral water, synthetics, fragrance. Hate that term, but it's not 100% pure essential oil. Young Living's is. It is not adulterated in any way. It's not. It's real. It's pure. And I trust it. I really do. So oil can be tainted when it is harvested, when it is distilled, when it is shipped, when it's, there are so many ways that oils can be tainted. Young Living eliminates those by having distilleries right there on the farms. So as soon as that plant is harvested on the farm, it goes to the distillery, which is on the farm, and it is distilled there. It is tested there. It is bottled there. It is labeled there. And then it is sent to the warehouse and shipped out. Very few hands touch that oil. And those that do are highly trained, highly skilled, and certified to do so. I don't trust other oil companies when they make their claims of 100% pure and, we've got the best farms. No, you hire out to people who grow stuff and you don't hold them accountable for what they put on their plants. So I'm sorry. I like Young Living, where I know what they don't put on their plants and how they grow them and how they harvest them. That's why Young Living is the best. Distilleries right there on the farms. It reduces the risk of contamination and to verify the rigorous testing that these oils go through before they are delivered to your door. With close to 90 individual oils and roughly around 115, 120 blends, it's hard to keep track because more are being added all the time. Young Living is a true standard, or true steward rather, of the earth, because they replant what they harvest. They won't harvest if something is rare, if something is not sustainable, if it cannot grow back quick enough to provide a supply of. Young Living will not harvest that. We replant what we harvest, even going so far as to not distill plants, no matter what the demand is, that are not sustainable. A few times recently, Young Living has discontinued an oil or reformulated a favorite blend because one of the plants could not be harvested ethically. And if it wasn't sustainable, they wouldn't do it. That's why Young Living no longer has an oil called spikenard. Very popular oil. It was part of the Oils of the Bible kit. And it was a big seller. And it did a lot of good for a lot of people. But because it is not sustainable, Young Living stopped. They did the same thing with rosewood. There are some companies that are still harvesting rosewood. It's rare and it's not sustainable. Young Living stopped. They reformulated a lot of the blends. In fact, Valor was one of them. Had rosewood in it. Well, they had to reformulate it without the rosewood, and Young Living did. I think that's ethical, and I think that's commendable. And that's the kind of company I want to get my oils from. So that's a look at Young Living Farms and some of the principles that are attached to the farms. They are some of the nicest places you'd ever want to meet. They have great people working there. We've talked to employees who are, they work in the harvesting area, they work in the distillation process, and they all say they love working there. They are treated extremely well. Young Living cares about their employees. They really do. It's very employee oriented. They make sure their employees are happy. And they are. And they seem to love what they do, because the ones we've talked to really enjoy being a part of Young Living. And they get a kick when they see the members, the oil users come to the farm, and we're all just, ooh, and this is stuff they see every day, and it's second nature to them, and we're just all, like a kid in a candy store. And I love the reactions that we get from people. It's like, yeah, okay, this is a lavender plant. You're jumping up and down, clapping your hands because there's a lavender plant right next to you. It's a lavender plant. But it's a young living lavender plant, which means it's coming from the best soil, from the best farms, and it's groomed by the best people. So if you're not already a Young Living user, let us know. Or you can talk to the person who shared this class with you. It's the best decision you can make when it comes to natural wellness and toxin-free living. Hope you enjoyed this little class. We love doing these. We do about 3 of them a month, the first 3 Mondays of each month. And the next Monday, no, we're not doing a class because we've already done 3 this month. Next class is going to be Monday, November 4th. And on that class, it is What's All This About Essential Rewards? We're going to talk about the fantastic program that Young Living offers its members, where you get deep discounts, you get points back for what you order, and you also get free stuff. Who doesn't love free stuff? I love free stuff. I've got Scottish blood in me. I really love free stuff. So with that, I will hope to see you on the 4th. In the meantime, have yourself a blessed rest of the month, and we will talk at you hopefully sometime. We may pop in here with a video. You never know. Just kind of surprise people here and there. And as we always sign off, on behalf of my wife, Lori, take care. God bless.